Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the rubber game of this shutout series. The Cleveland Indians meet the Houston Astros. Good afternoon, everybody. Day baseball, a travel day for the Astros. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales with you. We have witnessed two shutouts. The Astros winning by shutout 2-0 on opening day, and Cleveland getting its 2-0 revenge last night, Ash.
It's been classic old-time baseball. Great pitching here in the series. The Astros have had their pitching, no question about it, but so have the Indians.
Dallas Keuchel was the lead man, and was he ever brilliant on opening night?
Spectacular 7 innings of shutout ball. He had that breaking ball. That's the curveball working. Had the slider in on the hands of the right-handers. Changeup was very effective, but that slider against a lineup like this with the Indians, so many left-handed bats, an extremely effective pitch. Dallas can mix it up, though, and do anything he seems to need. Scott Feldman last night took a loss. Very tough to take a loss when you pitch this well. He got the benefit of some high strikes throughout the evening, and as Brent Strom likes to do, he pitched up quite a bit, and it was effective. Just one run against Feldman in 6+ innings, and yet he takes the loss.
Coming up, early risers. The Indians pitchers have risen to the challenge of sapping the Astros' power supply. But how long will the outage last? Julia Morales tells us why A.J. Hinch feels a surge coming soon when we return.
Game 3 of a 3-game series between the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros. And coming into 2015, General Manager Jeff Luhnow said one of the things he was most excited about this team that he had put together was the offense. The amount of guys that would be in the lineup every night that could change the game with one swing. Well, A.J. Hinch wanted to preach to these guys also. He doesn't want them to be one-dimensional when it comes to offense. He wants them to be well-rounded. Can they score with runners in scoring position, etc., things like that. And the past 2 nights hasn't looked good for the offense, but no panic yet. We're going to show you something right here. Jack in the Box taking us inside the box score. This is the lineup for the first 2 nights here, and some struggles right through the middle of the order. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Having some tough times against some really great pitchers. A.J. Hinch also noting that at this point of the season, it's early. You're seeing it through the entire league that the pitchers might be ahead of the hitters. And these are the 2 guys that the Astros were challenged with the first 2 nights of the season. Corey Kluber, of course, the defending Cy Young Award winner, and then Carlos Carrasco coming out pitching great after signing that 4-year deal worth $22 million. Both pitchers doing really well, but the Astros will have to come out of it. A.J. Hinch thinks they will. Just a matter of time. No panic yet. The strikeouts, not a concern just yet, and they hope to put up some runs for the rookie that will be on the mound tonight. Asher Wojciechowski making his debut. Brownie and Ash will have all things Asher when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. Roof is closed this time for Game 3 of the series. It's been open for the first 2 games of the set. It's Minute Maid Park, Houston, Texas, the scene for the 3rd game of the series and the season for the Astros. They will be traveling to Arlington, Texas after this day game for the Rangers home opener tomorrow afternoon. That's just a 3-game road trip, and then back home Monday night to face the Oakland A's. So into a stretch of divisional games after this one today. Trey Hillman, the bench coach, makes out the lineup card after A.J. Hinch hands it to him. It's a little bit different today, and A.J. will be mixing in some of the guys who have not had starts as this team moves on through the next few games of the season. He wants to make sure that players are not sitting on the bench for 7 or 10 days to start the season, Ash.
I think most managers around the big leagues, Brownie, would have the same philosophy. You want to get all 25 in there as quickly as possible, kind of get that edge off of the player, feel like you're contributing. And so A.J. Hinch, I think, really falls in line with the major league managers.
Well, as he goes through starter number 3 of the season, you see Dallas Keuchel, Colin McHugh, and Scott Feldman, the top 3 from last year, combining for a 31-30 record, an outstanding ERA of 3.15, a low whip of 117. And last year in 79 starts, all the other Astros starters managed a 4.66 ERA. This club looking to improve in that department.
And so Asher Wojciechowski has a little bit of a load on his shoulders, it would seem, beyond opening day of that assignment. And yet he's a young man that seems to really have his head on his shoulders. He doesn't seem overwhelmed with the big league scene at all. And he also is not a kid, 26 years of age. So Asher Wojciechowski, a former #1 pick of the Toronto Blue Jays. That was back in 2010. He's been a big college performer in his prior days, and in the minor leagues he's had success over 5 seasons in the minor leagues. 35-26, 3.75 ERA. This spring he acquitted himself extremely well, really coming out of almost nowhere to make the ball club. 1-0 with a 1.29 ERA, a very fine whip. Pitched his way onto the club, and a lot of times you just aren't in a position to do so.
We look at the lineup he'll be facing from the Cleveland Indians, who have strong playoff aspirations here in 2015. They'll be going home to open tomorrow against the Detroit Tigers. And they are going with Michael Bourne leading it off in center field. Jose Ramirez is the shortstop with Jason Kipnis at third base. Michael Bradley again sidelined. He came out before the game started last night. He was scratched with a stiff lower back. It's Carlos Santana at first base, Brandon Moss in right field, Yan Gomes the DH today, David Murphy in left, Monty Chisenhall at third base. Roberto Perez gets his first start at catcher this season. And it begins with the speedy Michael Bourne. Michael 1 for 8 in this series. Third baseman in tight for him. And he takes ball 1 on the first major league pitch from Asher Wojciechowski. Luis Valbuena is on the grass for Bourne, who's an outstanding bunter. The infielders are shortened up. Altuve really moved in. That ball's in the air out to left center field. It backs up Robbie Grossman, and he's going to play it off the wall if it stays in play, and it does. So Bourne, with an opposite field double, opens the game in a thunderous way for Cleveland.
We talked a little bit in the pregame show about how Asher Wojciechowski might go about his business, maybe trying to establish fastballs. And I think that's a big advantage to major league hitters, especially when you put the ball in that kind of a zone. But when you can look fastball and get it, and then get a pitch that might be up a little bit out over the plate, huge advantage. And this ball, fortunate for Wojciechowski, stays in the yard.
Double for Bourne, and now it's Ramirez, the switch hitting shortstop, trying to advance him. And looking for his first hit of the season. 0 for 6 in this series. Corner infielders in tight. He bunts. It's well placed. Wojciechowski bare hands, throws to Carter, safe at first. It's a bunt single, and it's first and third, nobody out.
Well, that's simply the case of trying to lay down a sacrifice bunt and dropping down a beauty. This is the type of play that Dallas Keuchel made a couple of times. That Gold Glove ability that he has. So you got to get on it quickly and come up with a good, accurate throw. Just not able to make it on a speedy Jose Ramirez.
Ramirez beats it. And now the Indians are set up with Jason Kipnis, the #3 hitter, having runners at the corners, nobody out. He is 2 for 8, looking for his first RBI of the young season. Jed Lowrie, the shortstop, shades up the middle. Kipnis puts it in the air, and Robbie Grossman backs up on this one as well in left field and makes the catch on the warning track. That'll be a sacrifice fly. Bourne waltzing in to make it 1-0 Cleveland. Kipnis getting his first run batted in.
Watching this, I feel like this is too easy for the Indians hitters. Not that Wojo doesn't have the stuff. He does. But fastball after fastball in that effort to establish and make it easy for the youngster. In the end, I'm not sure that's the way you make it easy.
Grossman back for the catch. Ramirez staying at first, and now it's Carlos Santana, who homered on his 29th birthday a few hours ago. Santana 2 for 7 in this series. Hit 27 bombs last season. The infield shift is on. Lowrie's on the first base side of second with Altuve in that middle position between first and second base, and he's shortened up at double play depth. He's shallower than we normally see him against a left-handed hitter with some pop in this situation, presumably because the double play is in order. Ash.
And I wonder how many teams with that man on the left side are going to start early in the count, playing them up in front, trying to take away any bunt thought. And really, when you look at it, it actually increases the coverage of the angle on that left side.
strike. Santana apparently has now hit 3 home runs in his career on his birthday. There's another stat for you.
Don't ever pitch to him on his birthday,
No.
apparently. If there was a little bit of usage of the fastball, instead of fastball out over the plate, fastball inside corner, and it was effectively thrown.
Round to bunt, he takes a strike. Hank Conger comes out of that chute there, ready to make a throw.
So there's what you get, though, when that man on the left side moves out of that drawn-in position. You get the notion, at least the thought of dropping down bunts, and I frankly don't understand why more teams don't do it. You're trying to take away hits with the shift, but hitters seemingly don't want to get the hit with the freebie on the left side.
How about Buena's way around where the shortstop often plays. So it's wide open.
By the way, that last pitch, a changeup from Wojo thrown for a strike. Not a great location, but nonetheless called a strike.
He said that his changeup had really helped him last year. Last year was the year it developed. Has about 15 family members and friends here watching him today.
Let's take a look at that changeup. See what he does the first time he throws the pitch this afternoon. Pretty much through the heart of the plate. But deception in speed, and that was a good job in terms of arm speed. But I do think you need to give a guy like this stepping in more of a chance to use the other pitches.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Last year, Asher was hurt in spring training with a strained right latissimus muscle, and then later in May he had a forearm flexor strain. So when he did pitch in AAA Oklahoma City, he pitched 76 innings last season. He did well in winter ball this year in the Dominican Republic. In the dirt, Conger blocks it.
There we go. We see a slider.
Yeah. He featured a sharp slider in his last spring training start. He has had extra rest since then. He threw a bullpen in between to try to stay sharp. Brandon Moss is on deck. Asher said essentially last year when he was at AAA Oklahoma City, he was pitching without much of a fastball. Runner going, swinging a foul tip. The throw is launched into center field, and he gets up and heads for third. Ramirez will make it on the strikeout for out number 2. He gets a steal, and then Conger is charged with an error on the throw. That's the first error for the Astros this season.
Sometimes you just simply get messed up with whatever goes on as a catcher trying to make that throw. Number 1, it's a changeup, and that changes the timing a bit. Then the foul tip gets mixed in, and so for Conger, it all adds up to maybe not the best of grips. I don't know if that's what he would fault it for, but it certainly could come into play.
Colby Rasmus, the center fielder, backing up the play. Now Brandon Moss, the runner at third after the Indians' first steal of the season. Moss 0 for 6. Takes that one for ball 1. Moss, a big man in the scheme of things with the Indians and their power plans this year. There's a changeup, and it catches the inside part of the plate for a 1-1 count. Wojciechowski said last year he really had to rely on that changeup because he didn't have the velocity on his fastball, and there was not much difference in velocity between the 2 pitches for him last year. But then in winter ball he could tell the difference, and this spring continued to rely on that off-speed pitch.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that he's now at least starting to mix in the change. We've seen one slider. I think you've got to give that kid a chance to use the pitches the way he would if he were calling the game.
Inside with it again. It's 3 balls and a strike. And the first inning can be troublesome for a veteran pitcher, but especially a young man making his first major league start. And if he can limit the damage to 1 run, that's not all that bad a first major league inning.
And I hate to say that kid because he's 26. I think he knows his way around.
He gets a pop up here. Altuve and Carter both coming in. Carter in foul territory with the catch, and it is a limit of 1 run on 2 hits with 1 error and 1 left. Cleveland striking first. The Astros due up in a moment against Trevor Bauer. Starting lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. for game number 3 of the season. It looks this way. Jose Altuve leading off at second base. George Springer in right field. Luis Valbuena third base. Evan Gattis DH. Chris Carter first base. Jed Lowrie moving up to the number 6 spot in the order. Then it's Colby Rasmus in center field. Hank Conger the catcher and Robbie Grossman in left field.
On the mound for the Indians, right-hander Trevor Bauer, former #1 pick. That by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Things didn't go well, and the Diamondbacks just gave up very quickly. The Indians have a young man who's been at times considered to be unusual in his methods, certainly the warm-up methods, and yet they're finding a way under Terry Francona to make Bauer become comfortable. And he's coming along with some of the idiosyncrasies that he's had. He has a very good arm, and the Indians feel like they've got a future bloomer on their hands right here.
Jose Altuve's 1 for 8 to open the season. High heat, ball 1. Altuve also has a steal after hitting .341 last season, belting 7 homers, driving in 59. And a very good on-base percentage last year, .377. 2 balls, no strikes. The Astros as a team in the first 2 games hit .127, scoring 2 runs, drawing 5 walks. Bauer at home 6-5 with a 3.63 ERA in his career. On the road 1-7. 2 balls and a strike. Part of that 3-team trade coming from Arizona to Cleveland after the 2012 season. And last year he was 5-8 for the Tribe. Altuve hits one out of play. 2-2. Bauer was born in North Hollywood, California. And his listed home in the media guide is Spring, Texas. Went to UCLA. According to a recent Sports Illustrated article, he works out at a facility called The Ranch, which I believe is north of the Woodlands near Montgomery. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Tough pitch to take right there. That was well spotted by Bauer. When you're a good hitter, you're going to get pitched tougher than a lot of other guys, but you can see what a great location that is. If you can get the hitter to swing, then you've got something.
Leadoff walk puts Altuve on.
Defensively for the Indians, behind Trevor Bauer in the outfield, David Murphy in left, Michael Bourne in center, and Brandon Moss in right field. On the infield left side, Lonnie Chisenhall and Jose Ramirez. That's what we've seen each game. Right side, Jason Kipnis and Carlos Santana. Same story, Roberto Perez makes his first start behind the dish.
Now George Springer, he drove in the first run of the season Monday in the Astros 2-0 win. Altuve draws some attention. Altuve had singled and stolen a base in that 7th inning Monday. 56 steals in 65 tries last year for a very good percentage of 86. Springer looks at it, and it's strike 1. Scott Berry is the home plate umpire. Valbuena on deck.
Now I would assume that's a George Springer batting in the 2 spot with Altuve aboard, allowing Altuve a pitch, maybe 2. Who knows at this point how George is going to play it, but it's going to be a different look for George.
0-2 now. Two games so far this season at Minute Maid Park, 2 shutouts. There have been 13 major league shutouts in 37 games this year. 9 in the American League. So do we have a trend here after 2 games of the season, Ash?
I would say we do. Of course, we've also seen the numbers 1 and 2 starters in the rotation, and you would figure those guys would have the advantage, but that would have been true for all previous years as well. So yeah, I think there is a trend going on where pitchers are dominating the hitters.
Altuve seemed to be leaning a bit as the throw came over.
You know, the George Springer we saw last year, so prone to the strikeout, you wouldn't have wanted to put in a position where he's at the plate with 2 strikes before he has swung the bat. So maybe this is part of a growth exercise for George, and maybe it has a chance of proving to be a little tough with that taking early.
Altuve goes. Tough pitch to handle, and the throw from Perez is not in time. Steal number 2 in as many tries in 2015 for Altuve.
Throw off line a hair, but a good strong throw, and that ball almost caught up with Jose. Jose takes a lot of strides on his way to second base, but he is so quick with it, and you can see he just does get in. Even that glance back, they used to always say, if it's a straight steal, don't glance back. But we've seen some of the world-class sprinters glance around, and so I'm not sure it changes anything.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Jim Johnson counted 17 strides from Altuve on his stolen base earlier in this series. Breaking ball makes it 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's one of those numbers that when you told me it left me wondering, okay, so what would the normal guy take?
He coached in college. He said usually they work with about 13 strides for a lot of the base runners, but of course Altuve requires more strides, being 5'6". But he's very fast in taking. Strikeout. Springer retired, 1 out.
Good slider on the 3-2. You know, we're seeing a lot of very tough at bats. You can't say that this is just routine. Yes, it's the big leagues, but a 3-2 slider in that location would be considered tough at any time.
Bauer last year walked 60 in 153 innings, striking out 143. Luis Valbuena is 0 for 7 as an Astro.
Okay, Brownie, we just had the stridometer utilized.
Okay, what do we wind up?
Jose Altuve came up with 13 strides, so
okay.
I think we're going to have a vision correction test provided for somebody soon.
He does have the knack of getting a tremendous jump. That's ball.
So 13 strides would put Jose right in the ballpark then with the typical base stealer, I guess.
Yeah. And running on that 1-2 pitch, he selected a good pitch for stealing. Isn't that a big part of base stealing, selecting the right pitch?
Yeah, I guess my knee jerk is to say yes, and then I think about some of the guys that were great base stealers, and those are that's a limited list, no question. Those guys seem to be able to take it at will.
Well, that's true. They did. The Maury Willses, the Joe Morgans of the world.
Ricky being Ricky.
3 balls, no strikes to Valbuena, who began his career with Seattle. He came to Cleveland in a trade in 2008. And did not play much for the Tribe. Just 43 at bats in 2011 before moving along to the Cubs on waivers. In for a strike. That makes it 3-1 for Bauer. Bauer does a lot of exercises and drills in the wintertime, working on his throwing motion. Works for hours on that. Last year he averaged 93.8 on his fastball, and only 3 in the American League with 150 innings or more averaged a higher figure. That's a foul ball. Valbuena with a good swing, hit it hard. Garrett Richards, Jordano Ventura, and Chris Archer were the 3 who threw for a higher average fastball velocity than Bauer last year.
You know, I've never heard a stat for walks turned into doubles and or triples for a guy that steals bases. That would intrigue me.
It would. 3rd straight full count now for Bauer. And a walk to Valbuena, the 2nd of the inning. The Astros, who had walked 5 times in the first 2 games, now have a couple of men on base for Evan Gattis. And like Valbuena, he's looking for his first hit as an Astro. These 3, 4, 5 hitters, Valbuena, Gattis, and Carter, have gone a combined 0 for 21 this season. This would be a terrific time for Gattis to break out after a 22 home run, 52 RBI season with the Braves.
And a big Katy Perry fan.
Oh, yeah, we did have that, didn't we? On the check swing, it's ball 1. Chris Conroy with the call. The last 8 games between these two teams have been decided by 1 or 2 runs. One ball, 1 strike to Gattis.
Well, I would say early returns say we're going to see a lot of sliders. And some pitches left up in the strike zone, but I wouldn't be inclined to guess dead red looking for the fastball in what would seem to be a fastball count.
One and 2. Bauer's only start against the Astros until today was last August 24th in Cleveland. He beat the Astros 3-1 with 6 innings of shutout ball. And a turn back towards second. Bauer kept eyeing Altuve there and wound up turning back. Indians go with Zach McAllister at home tomorrow against Detroit in their home opener. Strikeout of Gattis. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a very uneven start for Bauer. Nice Carter.
He's got a good riding fastball, especially when he gets it up. Previous strike blown right over the bat, and this one as well up out of the strike zone.
Chris Carter is 0 for 7 to start the season. Looking for a 2-out hit to get the Astros on the scoreboard, trailing 1-0 here in the first after a 37-homer season last year. That is strike 1 on the slider.
Love to hear one of the game's great hitters of the past come in and talk to the guys now and address what's the best way to finish up your final week or final couple of games of spring training. How do you best prepare yourself to get off to a great start? I'm not sure there's an answer.
Oh, and 2. A.J. Hinch, before spring training started, said his plan was going to be to have the Astros play as hard as they could, play to win the last 10 days of spring training, to simulate as much as possible regular season type approach. This will be the 25th pitch of this first inning. It's up. 1 and 2.
Sure do like Carter's approach better since the second half of last season.
He's more likely, with that run going back to the second half, to hit the ball to center field and right center and right field now. Another strikeout, 2 walks and 3 strikeouts in an unusual first inning for Bauer. 1-0 Cleveland.
Move to the second here at Minute Maid Park. And kick your weekends off here at Minute Maid Park. Every Friday night home game is followed by the best fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next fireworks show is Friday, April 17th, when the Astros take on the Angels. For more info, visit Astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Brownie?
Thanks, Julia. Those will be important games early season, with the Angels expected to be very good this year. So far, they are off to a 2-1 start, as is Oakland atop the AL West. Asher Wojciechowski gave up a first inning run. Now out for the second with Yan Gomes to lead it off. Gomes 1 for 8 in this series. Gomes takes to their strike one. Gomes has been catching this series the first 2 games. He's a very good hitting catcher. The DH gives a vehicle to Terry Francona, the manager, to keep him in the lineup and let Roberto Perez do some work behind the dish. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gomes.
Hear about pitchers getting under breaking pitches, getting under a slider. That was a classic case right there where the hand rolled around and under the baseball.
Line toward the left field corner. That bounces and one hops the wall. Extra bases for Yan Gomes. He has a leadoff double. 2 leadoff doubles in 2 innings for the Tribe.
Hanger hit that breaking ball right through the gut. And Yan Gomes has proven himself quickly in the big leagues as a dangerous offensive weapon for a catcher.
Grossman over to play it. That's 3 hits for the Indians. David Murphy's the batter. 262 last season, driving in 58. He's had good career numbers against the Astros for the Houston native. Shift is on. And there's ball 1.
Well, that first pitch is a fastball each time now. And so I'm not sure there's any surprise at all for Indians hitters going to the plate. And then on top of that, the location hasn't been good after an inning plus.
Murphy started and went 1 for 4 last night. 1 ball, 1 strike to David, a first-round pick of Boston in 03. Then the Rangers got him in a trade at the deadline in 07. Familiar foe for the Astros. 8 homers, 24 runs batted in, and a .309 average for David. Puts that one in the air, and it's Jose Altuve. Watching George Springer make the catch behind him. Altuve was decoying. He put his hands up. 1 out.
That was the broadcaster deep.
That's interesting. He just likes to have fun. He likes to stay in the game.
Intriguing. I can't come up with anything beyond just having a good time for what we saw.
No real reason for it. Lonnie Chisenhall's next. 280 last season with a good on base average. He's not known as one of those clutch RBI type third basemen. Last year 59 runs batted in. That's his career high so far. He's 27. 1 for 5 so far this year. Ball 1 to Chisenhall.
Then we get a changeup to start things. That changeup's been up, but it's been fairly effective so far.
Brent Strom really rooting for Wojo. One ball, 1 strike. It was a battle for this spot in the rotation. Of course, Roberto Hernandez will also be in that rotation, and he will work. Scheduled to work anyway Saturday. Rain could be in the forecast for Arlington, Texas this weekend, the next couple days anyway. Pretty good pitch, but it just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
Even if you miss consistently, you've got to be able to come in like this. You see that ball run back, but not quite enough.
It's 2-2. We attach numbers to pitchers in the rotation because of where they pitched to start the season. Most people with the Astros would not say, well, we wouldn't rank Wojo number 3 of our 5 starters, but he's pitching the 3rd game. But who knows what might evolve and where he might wind up. Colin McHugh certainly ranks higher. That's strikeout number 2.
You know, you mentioned Colin McHugh, a guy who was so effective both sides of the plate last year. Watch Wojo. work that inside edge and just run it right back to the corner, right on the money as he gets the call looking. Yeah, that's real good work, and Hank Conger needs to help him to get inside at least a good percentage of the time.
Roberto Perez up for the first time this season. Backup catcher for the Indians, known as a good #2 catcher. 26 years old. He had just 85 at bats last year with Cleveland. Hit .305 at AAA Columbus, rather. They strike one to him. Perez is from the land of catchers, Puerto Rico. 33rd round draft choice in '08. He started 25 games last year.
Now, does Pudge Rodriguez factor in there for you?
Yeah, he does factor in a major way. And the Molina brothers. No balls and 2 strikes. They have had some fantastic catching talent. There's the block by Hank Conger. That pitch in the dirt. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. The Indians have the advantage in the all-time series over the Astros, 20-14, and they are 11-10 at Minute Maid Park.
This is the part of the game that one of the parts of the game that I really value from a catcher. That consistent effort to keep pitches in the dirt at the plate so runners don't move up. That has a great value and doesn't get talked about much.
Ground ball hit through the right side. Charged by Springer. Here's the go-ahead from Mike Sarbaugh, the coach, and the throw, and Conger swiped and missed the tag. He missed the tag on Gomes, and it's 2-0 Cleveland. Perez moving into second base. The ball was there.
Well, George Springer did his job, no question, and he'll do that job in right field maybe as well as anybody. He's got a gifted arm. He charges the ball well, and he puts a throw right on the money. And I'm not sure what happened for Hank Conger. Little bit of a short hop, so he does a nice job handling it. But it appeared to me that he anticipated a slide to one side and got the other. No, that's just great work by George Springer. Wow. As a catcher, hold down the fort there. Just Brad Ausmus was so good at this, where he would just set up in front of the plate, and there was no option for the runner.
Yeah. He got caught on his left knee, and then he couldn't get back to the right. Michael Bourne with ball 1.
Get a peek from over the top, and he gets that glove on the left side, tries to swipe a tag, but very fine job by Gomes. But again, I don't know what the explanation would be there behind the plate for Conger.
It looked as if he got his body turned more toward third base than he wanted to, perhaps. 2 balls and a strike.
Was that a part of the slightly short hop throw from right field?
That could be. Certainly could be. Well, there's a lot of things, as you well know, that a catcher's trying to process when that ball is coming in from the outfielder.
Yeah, it can be an easy play. Brad Ausmus, I'll bring up his name again. He was just so exceptional on all plays behind the plate, but that tag play at the plate as good as anybody I've seen.
Rasmus backs at center. And in the second inning, the Indians come up with another run on 2 hits. They leave a man to stretch their lead to 2-0 early. They have 4 hits so far in the first couple of innings. And now the Astros in the bottom of the second will have Lowrie, Rasmus, and Conger batting against Trevor Bauer, who dodged a couple of walks and struck out the side in the first inning. Jed Lowrie has 2 hits and 5 at bats in the early going. .249 for Jed last season with 6 homers, driving in 50. Third baseman Chisenhall well off the line and in tight. Infield shifted around, and there's ball one to Lowrie. Jed's been batting 7th in the first 2 games of the season. Bumping up here to 6th in the lineup to be followed by Rasmus and Conger. Ground ball goes foul. 1-1. The dynamics of how the hitters stack up in the order do change as the players change. Jason Castro getting a rest today. And also Jake Marisnick, who started the first 2 games, is on the bench today.
Looks like Terry Francona, among other managers, is adopting this philosophy when a shift is on for a left-hand hitter that the third baseman move up near the grass or to the grass, take away the notion of the bunt. And it's one I have talked about for years now. I think if you're going to employ the shift, you bring that guy on the left side up and at least take away any notion of picking up the freebie hit.
2 balls, 2 strikes as Lowrie fouls it. Some kind of a start in the ERA department for many major league clubs here in the early portion of the season. Indians president is Mark Shapiro, who used to be their general manager. He says we're doing a better job of developing pitchers than hitters. Lowrie is called for swinging, and that's a strikeout. That's 4 now for Bauer.
Our teammate mobile, rather, game changer, is the potentially lethal bat of Colby Rasmus. 2010 and 2013, the years where Colby really put it together in terms of the batting average combined with the home runs. You see 276 in each one of those years. He's a lifetime 245 hitter, but 3 times in his career he's already hit over 20 home runs. So he's shown the power. 66 ribs in each one of those fine seasons. Colby Rasmus can be a big impact player, and he had a very nice defensive play in game 1 as the Astros were able to defeat the Indians.
Rasmus 1 for 5. 225, 18 homers for Colby last year. Then he signed a 1-year deal as a free agent to join the Astros in January. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bauer has an unusual routine to get ready for a game. Well, at least he used to throw pretty much from corner to corner of the outfield to warm up. That was somewhat controversial in Arizona. 2 balls and a strike.
Pretty good looking pitch, well received, no call.
Two and 2 to Rasmus.
Well, Bauer's also the guy that starts an inning. The warm-up tosses begin with him behind the mound, and the catcher is supposed to stay well back of the plate.
So throwing from a longer distance, and he gets strikeout number 5.
He's got a lot of good late running movement on that fastball.
Very lively pitch for him.
Reminiscent of Greg Maddox years gone by. Started in, run it back, catch just a piece of that edge, and that's all you have to catch. It's a strike.
Hank Conger batting for the first time with the Astros. He's 27 years old. He's from the state of Washington. Switch hitter. 221 was his average last year, and it's ball 1. The Astros put together a trade with the Angels. Conger coming for Carlos Perez, a catcher, and Nick Tropiano, a pitcher. Really like the way Conger caught last year, and being the switch hitter, that will allow them, if they choose, to rest Jason Castro to get Conger in the lineup as a right-handed batter. Carlos Corcoran, last year's backup, also was a switch hitter. He's with the Rangers now. 1 and 2. Conger was the 25th player drafted back in 06 in the first round.
Paul Blart needs to stay off the infield.
Paul's got a new movie out, doesn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
2 and 2 the count.
I think he's more of a roving outfielder in softball.
You'll ever see the outfielders playing on segways?
Now, there's a game for you. And you have to stay on it. You can't come off.
Nope, can't run. Got to be on your Segway.
That's nice.
Second baseman Kipnis out in shallow right field. That's rolled foul. Every Astros hitter has seen at least 4 pitches, running the total to 41 so far for Bauer.
I mentioned that that last year the Astros were among the 4 best teams in terms of seeing numbers of pitches, and yet they were second to last in the league in runs scored. And the thing about it is the teams that were better than them saw more pitches were among the bottom dwellers in terms of runs scored.
Yeah. 3-2.
How close can you come and not get it? It's one you don't want to take a lot, but you appreciate a good umpire on the inside edge.
Foul back. Good cut by Conger. Robbie Grossman's on deck.
For me, what I've seen with Hank Conger, he's a dangerous left-handed bat. He'll launch some balls this year that will be quite impressive, I would anticipate.
Conger hangs in there with a foul ball. The article in Sports Illustrated about dominant pitching includes from Indians president Mark Shapiro this quote about pitching: "It's a more repeatable, digestible action. We're headed toward, and we didn't even mention the use of defensive shifts, an era of defensive-minded baseball."
Well, if you can do it in a timely fashion like the games have been so far this year, I'm good with that.
And they have been shorter this year. There's a 2-out walk, and Conger really had to work for it.
So pitching is more digestible than hitting, I assume we're talking about.
So is that a word you would use?
Let me chew on it.
Well, the hitter is reacting. The pitcher rehearses his delivery over and over and over again. He initiates, but what he's doing, he's in control of. The hitter is not so much.
Reactive, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, hitters repeat their swing over and over, maybe more than pitchers deliver pitches. I'm not really sure on that one. Yeah, that's really intriguing, and I heard you say that we are now developing pitchers better than hitters apparently in the minor leagues. I wonder if it's a factor somehow of all the great arms, the 95+ type arms we're starting to see, and I really don't know where that's coming from. But if you can develop better and faster arms, why logically would you not develop better and faster bats?
That's the question. 1-1 to Robbie Grossman. Trevor Bauer points out the lower reaction time the hitters have to guys who are throwing 95 compared to 90. And he feels that hitters will have to sell out more, guess, so to speak, because there are so many high-octane pitchers. So advantage pitcher every now and then. And Victor Martinez is a classic example of somebody who knows hitting so well that he can look for a fastball and a non-fastball count and spin on it and get a great result. Fouled away. It really seems that hitting is changing, though. It's becoming so challenging the way there are so many dominant pitchers in the game.
Let me run this out there. I don't know, just because it comes to mind. Hitters are now being encouraged to take strikes and take balls and maybe draw a walk. Is that hindering their overall progress as hitters?
Good question. Another full count.
Strikeouts by decade. Strikeouts are going up. Runs per game are, that's what I would call a leveled off. Certainly dropping off since the pharmacists were encouraging more runs.
Well, that's a fact. 3-2, 2 outs. A runner will go. Grossman takes ball 4. What a strange game for Trevor Bauer. He has walked 4 and struck out 5 in the first trip through the order.
Kind of a classic Robbie Grossman at bat right there.
It really was.
He is kind of part of that take style of learning to hit. Well, learning to have an at bat, if you will.
Callaway and the infielders congregate there as Altuve prepares to bat with 2 on and 2 out.
You know, but I'll go back to the comment, and I'm only talking statistically, but for last year again, the teams that did not see the most pitches, therefore, I think in my mind anyway, it says that when they had men in scoring position, they were inclined to swing the bat and try to drive the runs in. They were the teams that statistically scored more runs. You've got to have those guys too. Let's put it that way.
Altuve walked on a 3-2 pitch. He's swinging here. That's a tough pitch. Strike 1.
That's the thing about Bauer. He walks people, but he also makes some really tough pitches.
And doesn't that really play with your mind as a hitter? He's just so unpredictable now in this game.
You go to the plate and you think, well, I've just watched him walk a couple of guys, and now he paints me like that.
Yeah. One and one. Springer on deck. The Astros' top minor league clubs will get into action tonight. Big night around the system. In the air. Kipnis out with the catch. No runs, no hits, 2 men left after 2-0 Cleveland.
Welcome back. Top of the third, 2-0 Indians over the Astros. Asher Wojciechowski back to work and found out a week ago yesterday that he would make the opening day roster with the Houston Astros. A.J. Hinch bringing him in the office first thing on that final day in Florida to tell him that he had made the team, but apparently had a roundabout way to tell him. So when he talked to the media, he said he actually didn't really have a response. Well, just kind of sat there. Well, I asked Wojo how it all went down, and he said AJ wasn't really clear in telling them that he had made the team, so he actually had to sit there for a second, process it. Once he realized and left the room, then he went and called his family. Was very ecstatic. But AJ also said that coming into spring training, he didn't think Wojo would make the team, so this was a very pleasant surprise of the way he pitched, and just didn't expect him to be on the roster with all the other guys that were in the mix. But it was also, however, guys, the first time that Wojo had pitched in a big league spring training. So Wojo talked about the nerves that he had coming in and pitching then. I can imagine he had some today.
Absolutely. Jose Ramirez takes ball 1, 2-0 Indians. Third inning underway. Ramirez put down a bunt single, stole a base in the first inning. Balbuena's on the grass. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, that was one very memorable day for Asher. Now he has another one. First start that counts. 1-2. And then there's the long haul. How will he fare? At age 26, born in Hardyville, South Carolina. His parents came in from Charleston. And Orbit is taking photos again. Rolled out to Altuve at second. 1 down.
There's a pitch I think Asher's going to have to rely on quite a bit if he's to have success at the big league level. His fastball, at least today, is 90, 91, maybe a hair over that at times. But that nice location working in on the hands will set up some of the other pitches. When you can blow 95 plus, you can make mistakes, and you'll get away with it occasionally. But when you're at that 90 mark and just above, you've got to be much more precise.
Kipnis looks at ball 1. He hit the sac fly to left field. Wojciechowski moved around the world. His father was a minister. and he was in Romania and played on a little league team in that country. His family lived there for 3 years. 1 ball, 1 strike. He went to the Citadel. It's a military school, so you'd have to imagine that he's very structured in his habits. 2 balls and a strike.
You'd have to be to spell that last name correctly every time.
Wojo fits pretty well, doesn't it?
It does.
Lined up the right field line, and that's a foul ball. 2-2.
Now that's the first changeup that's been kind of centered up here against Wojo. And you wonder, as the hitters get to see it a little bit more, if they can read it better. Watch the delay by Kipnis. He delays and then reaches out to get to it.
Colin McHugh and Derek Holland square off tomorrow. 2:30 is our airtime on Root Sports for the pregame show from Texas. Deep drive to left field. Grossman backs off from the wall and plays this one. The carom goes out toward right center, though. Rasmus comes over and launches a high throw. It's backed up by the pitcher, and that's going to wind up a triple by Kipnis. There's a strange carom off that wall. It came back toward the center fielder Rasmus, and then his throw just sailed.
There's one absolute for me. When a ball's going up and could eventually hit off this scoreboard, I think the center fielder needs to be there, because there's no telling which way it's going to kick, and that kind of an erratic kick is the reason. Kipnis played it well. He didn't go for a jog into second double right from the start. He was going.
That's his 11th major league triple. He's at third with 1 out. Brent Strom out to the mound again. The Astros' long reliever Sam Deduno has not pitched in a game so far. The Astros are hoping they can get Wojo through this 3rd inning and keep him going.
Love to be a lip reader. Know what that conversation was about. Now, one bit of analysis that's pretty easy is a number of the pitches from Asher have been uppish and through the heart of that box we've been looking at. We'll see how this triple is recorded. Up and away, and that's actually kind of in a location that Brent Strom likes to have pitchers explore.
Infield in. Carlos Santana looks at ball 1. He whiffed back in the 1st inning. Five hits for the Indians, none for the Astros. It's 2-0. I mentioned the opener tomorrow at Texas. 3:07 start time for Colin McHugh and Derek Holland. Saturday a night game finds Roberto Hernandez making his first appearance as an Astro against Giovanni Gallardo. Now Santana has worked the count to 3-0. And Sunday, Dallas Keuchel and Colby Lewis square off in a 2:05 start to wrap up the brief road trip.
That last pitch, by the way, Bronny, sorry to dance on your feet,
okay.
Was a changeup that last night likely would have been called a strike.
Swinging 3-0, Santana pops it, and Conger comes back. It's out of play, 3-1. Yep, strike zone. And we've been measuring that strike zone graphic we have. Can change a little bit from day to day. The speed up measures have not been an issue in this series. Hitter's allowed to step out of the box when he fouls a pitch or swings and misses at a pitch, but only briefly. And we saw an item today. There's a walk, so runners at first and third, 1 out. That Major League Baseball is now sending out letters to players who are not abiding by the speed up measures. So just a letter for now, and the month of April is considered to be like spring training, a break-in period for the speed up measures. In May, fines will start.
So kind of like for a golfer, you're on the clock.
Yep. Brandon Moss fouled out to first. Infield is shifted around. Moss takes, and it's strike one for Wojo. Brad Peacock is scheduled to make his first injury rehab start, and he gets the opener for AAA Fresno tonight against Las Vegas. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's thought that Peacock will need at least 2 rehab starts before his pitch count builds up to where he would be considered available to rejoin the Astros rotation. Only 1 appearance officially in spring training. He's coming back from hip surgery over the winter. One ball, 2 strikes. So just as there was heated competition for these spots on the 5-man rotation this spring, with Wojo winning 1 available spot, Hernandez winning another, that competition will now continue. Brett Oberholzer also could be back in the mix, but he's playing catch now with a blister on his finger, and it's been wrapped, so he can't throw full velocity yet. The wrapping comes off. But he's further away than Peacock, it would appear, as far as rejoining the Astros. 2-2 now. And then there's Josh Fields in the bullpen. He's been throwing on a program in Florida, but he's not facing hitters yet. So Fields also could at some point re-enter the bullpen mix. So those are 3 pitchers who could be helping out at some point in the future. In the dirt, and it's 3-2.
And all teams, I think, ultimately look for a guy that can pitch late in the ball game and pick up strikeouts. And I think Josh Fields is really the #1 guy in that regard.
Got things together quite well after a trip to the minors last year. So big night in the system for all the Astros minor league clubs who are opening. We wish them all well. 3-2, the runner goes from first, and that's line foul. Tony DeFrancesco returns to be the AAA skipper after that club, which had been at Oklahoma City, is now at Fresno this year, and he has won 3 Pacific Coast League championships. Should have a strong outfit there, including some of the guys who did not make this Astros team, such as John Singleton at first base and Matt Dominguez at third base. Runner going again, and it's foul back. There's a lot of excitement surrounding many of the Astros' top prospects as you ponder the minor league seasons opening today and tonight. Certainly a stacked club there, it would seem, at Corpus Christi, where the Astros have high hopes for that club.
Yeah, I would say AAA, AA, very good looking rosters.
Carlos Correa, Mark Appel, and others. That's in the air, and it's going to hang on the infield. Lowrie over to his right. Moss banged his bat on the ground. 2 outs. He really felt a need to get that runner home from third and could not deliver. Kipnis. 2 down. Now it's Gomes. Yeah, if you're sitting on Cleveland's bench right now, leading 2-0, you're probably thinking, oh, we need to go ahead and roll here and get some working room, because Bauer has struggled with his command, and they may be going to the bullpen early. So failed opportunities are not going to go down well on that bench.
Yeah, one of the thoughts that can prevail on a major league bench, and we're not quite to that point of the ball game yet, but you get off to an early lead, you appear to be dominating, and yet you only lead 3-0 after 6 innings when you feel like you should have 5, 6, 7 runs on the board. And then you are concerned that if the other team gets hot, has a big inning, they win the ball game.
Exactly. Gomes doubled to left field. This is in the air on the infield. Altuve moving in. And once again, The Indians lead men on base. They have stranded a total of 4. It's no runs, a hit. 2 men stranded here in the third. They're up on the Astros 2-0. By M.D. Anderson. 50 years ago today was the first ever game played at the 8th wonder of the world, with the Astros and the New York Yankees christening the Astrodome an exhibition play. The first pitch was thrown by Dick Farrell. Ron Brand got the first hit, and the first home run ever was hit by none other than Mickey Mantle, who was leading off for the Yankees in that game. The Astros won the game 2-1 on an RBI single by Hall of Famer Nellie Fox.
And Super 8 video was being shot all over the ballpark.
President Lyndon B. Johnson right there, and he stayed in the presidential suite at the Astrodome. The astronauts throwing out first pitches. Quite a gala event across town, and it will be commemorated this evening there. George Springer fouls it for strike 1. There's an event tonight, a 50th birthday party from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Caruth Plaza just outside the Dome tonight. Fans in attendance, and there is no charge, will have the opportunity to enter the Astrodome at this free event. It's a surprise to many because there are many people who don't think it's open and don't think it's safe. But it is, and this event is sponsored in part by the National Trust for Historic Preservation and Preservation Houston. And we're being given advisories for those of you who want to attend. Bring your folding chairs because this will be an outside event and there's no seating, but you're welcome to bring your own. 1 and 2. Struck him out looking, and this weird pattern continues.
A couple of tough pitches there on George Springer. Mickey Mantle, can he launch one? Apparently not in this at bat.
Well, he did hit a ball a long way, though, and he led off in that game. He had a bad leg, and he played left field. The Yankees wanted to get him out of the game early. It was an exhibition. They were getting ready for the season, and yet they also wanted him to do something big as the first man to do that in the Dome, which he did with the first home run. Buena takes ball 1.
Intriguing when you look back at different generations, and I think it's easy to wonder as you see one of the game's great lineups back then. How about Roger Maris? Did he ever get the respect that he deserved with his talents?
I don't think he did, Ash. And that sounds a little strange. And Mel Stottlemyre wound up being an Astros pitching coach later. He was a fine competitor. Johnny Blanchard, Clete Boyer, great Yankee names. Joe Pepitone played for the Astros. Bob Aspromonte, who's legendary around here, hit the first home run by an Astro in the Dome. And Joe Morgan, Al Spangler, Rusty Staub and company went out against the Yankees. Ron Brand catching that day, and he had a great story about Mickey Mantle coming up to lead off the game for that huge crowd. Valbuena pops it back. He said that the Hall of Fame wanted the baseball, and so he was asked to ask Mickey Mantle, which he did. He said, Mr. Mantle, would you mind taking a pitch? The Hall of Fame wants a ball. And Mickey Mantle said, I'm too nervous to swing anyway. That's fine with me.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is.
I was looking at that Astros lineup. I played against Rusty Staub. I played with Joe Morgan, and I played under Bob Lillis.
Interesting.
Who managed the Astros at one time.
Now, Joe Pepitone invented the hairdryer, right?
Well, you know, that was always the legend at that time. Speaking of which, I was noticing that photo of the astronauts throwing out the first pitch. There weren't many long-haired astronauts in those days.
Probably still aren't, Ash.
Maybe so.
Unless it's the women. That should be an interesting event tonight. As you know, there's a plan laid out to use the Astrodome. Valbuena takes 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Let's see if you can find the long-haired astronauts.
Nope. Can't find a single one. That's hit well, but Valbuena gets underneath it. Caught by Bourne, 2 outs. Dini Hawthines Judge Roy Hoffman's daughter and Larry Durker collaborated. There's the first pitch coming into Jonathan Villar before the game today.
I have a feeling Dirk could get back on the rubber and bring something.
They've been friends for many years. Evan Gattis struck out in the first. Dirk making his major league debut at age 18. Nolan Ryan pitched in the big leagues at age 19, and here they are, two legendary arms side by side.
Nolan saying, what were you thinking about? Get back on the mound and bring some gas.
Both pitched no hitters in the Astrodome and many important games. Check swing call went Gattis' way as Chris Conroy ruled that he didn't go through, and it's 2 balls and a strike for Gattis.
High strikes not in vogue at all here this afternoon.
And the slider works for a 2-2 count now. Carter's on deck. Gattis takes strike 3. That's 7 punch outs in 3 innings for Bauer, and a 2-0 lead for Cleveland.
Asher Wojciechowski is making his major league debut today, and I'm joined with a couple of his college teammates. I have Grant Richards here, who caught Asher in college, and this is Matt Talley. Matt, I want to start with you. Just how excited were you guys when you found out that Asher made the opening day roster?
Well, we had been kind of keeping up with everyone as he was going through spring training and knew he was doing well, so we kind of had rumors going around that he might make the team, and then finally it was maybe last Saturday. He texted all the guys. We had a group text going from all the guys that were in his wedding, and he texted all of us and said that we made the team. So immediately we started cutting jokes with him, telling him not to get nervous and all that stuff. But we're just really, really excited for him. He's a great guy and happy to see this work out for him.
And Grant, I know you caught him, so how much has he changed as a pitcher since college?
Yeah, he's definitely matured a lot. I mean, coming in freshman year, he was kind of just a little wild. You know, we were telling a story before the game of a time he was throwing a bullpen at Elon, and coach had somebody step in, and first pitch right in the ankle, and the kid was out for the rest of the weekend. So he's harnessed his stuff a little bit, definitely matured, and working with guys like Matt every day, he really improved his work ethic, and now, I mean, the hard work is really how we got here.
You probably know him pretty well. Do you feel like he was maybe nervous coming out of the bullpen today before he got started?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're human, you have those nerves and those jitters, but he's definitely, able to control them, and he started to settle in a little bit here, so.
Some insight from these guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and congrats on Astro. Well, congratulations. Guys, back up to you.
Great to have them with us. And Asher's family here as well. Lonnie Chisenhall, the batter. 2-0 after Asher got Murphy on a ground out to second. Perez is on deck. Asher has not had a 1-2-3 inning. That goes to center field. Rasmus. 2 down.
Previous to this pitch getting the fly ball to center field, there was a pitch called high. It's been fairly consistently called in that high range, and you can see in terms of the strike box, it would appear to be in the strike zone, but that's that difference in strike zones you have to deal with from day to day as a major league pitcher.
Perez had the RBI single to right for the second run for the Indians. That was in the second inning. They got a sac fly from Kipnis in the first. It's in for strike 1. All 5 hits in the game belong to the Indians. The Astros now have not scored in the last 12 innings and have only 4 hits in that period of time. No balls, 2 strikes.
It's a bit of a hanging slider right there that you have to feel fortunate to get away with.
Kent Emanuel, a lefty, starts for Corpus Christi tonight in the Hooks opener at Springfield. Lancaster plays San Jose with Brian Holmes starting for Lancaster. 1-2. Quad Cities will be at Peoria. Chris Lee going for Quad Cities. Very exciting journey about to begin for all those Astros minor leaguers. In tight for ball 2.
That's where Asher wanted it. Did he find the plate?
Okay.
That angle is always deceptive.
It is, the camera angle. That's in tight, and it's a full count. Fans are starting to get on the home plate umpire, Scott Berry.
Well, Scott's not caving in to close pitches right here.
Tap foul. Well, the Astros very happy, certainly, with the work they've had on the mound so far this season. Dallas Keuchel was brilliant opening night. Scott Feldman terrific in last night's game. Fly ball sends Rasmus back. And he watches it soar way over his head, and that is a round tripper. Perez takes the tour, 3-0 Cleveland. He is 2 for 2 in his first major league action of 2015. The 26-year-old catcher hits his second major league homer.
Watch where the pitch is, and we've seen just a lot of pitches through the heart of the plate, up, certainly well above the knees. And yet there's an inclination a lot of times to say, well, only 3 or 4 bad pitches were made. Well, I think the reality most often is only 3 or 4 pitches were really hit hard and wound up hurting you on the scoreboard. But you have to be careful about how you evaluate how a game was pitched.
Michael Bourne looks at a slider. 0-2 to Bourne, who has a double in 2 trips. Cleveland's hit 3 home runs in this series. The Astros still looking for their first long ball. That's chopped foul by Bourne. It's a line shot to right. Springer in. On the homer by Perez, who's driven in 2 in this game. Cleveland's lead grows to 3-0 in the 4th.
Well, Roger Clemens, Billy Wagner, Lance Berkman, a lot of Houston love from the past players, and you know, even some of the older guys, Enos Cabell, Nolan Ryan. I mean, there's something each of these guys can give our players, and it's important for our players to know them and know what they brought to this city and how it was when times were thriving. So I welcome all these guys. They're very respectful of our coaches. They're very respectful of our players, and you know, if they can give one little ounce of wisdom to them that makes us a little bit better, then why would I not want them around?
That was A.J. Hinch talking about the importance of history and having Astros legends helping his coaching staff. 3-0 Cleveland. There's ball 1 to Chris Carter after 3 no-hit innings by Bauer. He has a 3-run lead, and the count goes to 1-1. He has 7 strikeouts and 4 walks in a very eventful but no hit first 3 innings. So only 2 batters making contact for outs. 1 and 2 to Carter, with Lowrie and Rasmus to follow. Strike 3 call. That is punch out number 8. Career high for him, a 10 strikeout game against the White Sox last July.
Well, good pitching can give you fits, and I would have to say the Astros hitters have looked at some really good pitching, but they've got to find a way against this good pitching.
Astros punched out 13 times last night. Jed Lowrie struck out in the 2nd inning. Fouling that one away, falls behind. 0-1 in the count. Pitch count is 76. If you're thinking no hitter, that could be a real challenge for Terry Francona to keep him in the game with a high pitch count the way he's approaching things now. One ball, one strike. Roll to the right side. Santana with a toss to Bauer. 2 outs. The Astros now in 2 games plus 3 2/3 innings have struck out 28 times this season. Colby Rasmus struck out looking in the second. Just looking at the stretch of games coming up, Ash, over the weekend, the Astros are at Texas for 3. They come back next week, welcoming Oakland starting Monday night in a 3-game series, and then 3 with the Angels starting a week from tomorrow night, and that's 6-game homestand. So it's a stretch of 15 straight against the American League West beginning tomorrow.
It's a tough division, no doubt, but the Texas Rangers, I don't think they've got anybody on their bandwagon right now. The Oakland A's seem to have been dismantled this offseason. I think the Angels are going to be tough. A lot of people believe Seattle is playoff and maybe World Series bound this year.
1-1 the count to Rasmus, who struck out looking early. Yeah, Seattle does have good club assembled. Foul back, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A lot of that in Seattle could, like with most teams, come down to health and how their starting staff holds up. They've got some good arms in the bullpen.
Good young arms. James Paxton, good young lefty. Knocked him out. That's 9 in 4 innings for Bauer. And a no-hitter through 4 with a 3-0 lead.
Celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Astros and the Astrodome on April 17th and 18th. Presented by Coca-Cola. On Friday, April 17th, 10,000 fans will receive a Jimmy Wynn bobblehead. On Saturday, April 18th, we'll turn back the clock with the era-specific uniforms, and 10,000 fans will also receive a 1965 replica Astrodome. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
It's 3-0 here at Minute Maid Park through 4. Asher Wojciechowski gave up single runs in the first, the second, and the fourth. And now in the 5th inning, it's Ramirez, Kipnis, and Santana due to bat. Ramirez bunted for a single in the first. He grounded out in the third. There's ball 1. 75 pitches for Asher Wojciechowski. Nobody working in the Astros bullpen right now. There's a high drive right field, and Springer will not be able to get this. Another long ball. Ramirez goes deep for his first of the season. The Tribe now with 2 homers in the last 3 batters to lift its lead to 4-0.
Generally speaking, if your stuff's not in that great range and your location is missing, you're going to get touched up. Let's see where this pitch is. I don't know that you can say that it was right down the chute, but certainly a pitch that could be handled by Jose Ramirez.
4 long balls for the Indians in this series now. Kipnis looks at strike 1. Kipnis has a sac fly and a triple. That's 7 hits for Cleveland. That one stays high, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Sam Diduno now has begun to throw in the Astros bullpen. 1-2. Talked about that stretch coming up against the AL West for the Astros. You might have noticed on the schedule, the Astros here all next week. 3 with the A's and 3 with the Angels. Then on the road for a long trip. 3 in Seattle, 3 in Oakland, 3 in San Diego for interleague play. San Diego club will keep you riveted, Ash, as you work with Blummer in that series.
Yeah, let's hope we don't see Kimbrel in the 9th inning.
Wow. It's going to be a really intriguing year for that club with all the changes made by the general manager A.J. Preller, all the top name talent he's brought in, including Kimbrel now, to see if it all meshes.
I think a lot will come down to Matt Kemp. People have said he's going to be the MVP this year. I've heard some of that talk. Well, he's going to have to be better than he's been in recent years to have that kind of an impact, but he started out very well.
How about the night for Adrian Gonzalez last night? 3 home runs for the Dodgers.
Went 4 for 4, had a little kind of bleeder base hit through a shift, but man, that third of the 3 home runs was a bomb.
So he has a major league record for the first 3 games, 5 homers to start the season. Now Kipnis has worked the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Santana on deck. Atlanta's 3-0. Colorado's 3-0 out of the chute. Line into right field, hit hard, and Kipnis is 2 for 2 with a sac fly in this game. Let's look at a power hitter.
First 2 home runs don't get out by a whole lot. This one will reach the first row, and the next one even a little shorter than that, as if anybody's going to complain about the length of a home run. But this one was a no doubt shot. It was Willie Stargell who hit one up on top of that facade in right field.
Yeah, sailed out of there. 4-0 lead here for Cleveland. Santana has struck out and he's walked. So now time is called. Coach Brent Strom coming out. DeDuno has been warming up. 84 pitches for Wojciechowski. That Detroit club of Brad Ausmus off to a 2-0 start. Rain delay now keeping the Tigers from playing at home against Minnesota, but 2 shutouts in 2 games for Detroit.
With a number of good clubs in the last 5+ years, even under Jim Leyland, they had issues with the closer scenario. Right now, Brad hasn't even really needed that position. They've been solid.
Quick meeting for Brent Strom before Santana steps in.
And we mentioned last night that Joe Nathan has gone down. I believe it's a tender elbow again. So he could be scuffling around, talking about Brad Ausmus in terms of who's going to close games.
Wojciechowski really struggling here. The infield shift is on with Santana batting. That's ball 1 to him. Everybody's following these early games, especially people who've been baseball fans for many years, those who play fantasy baseball, things of that nature. Trying to figure out after those first 3 games, wow, what kind of a year is Adrian Gonzalez really going to have this year? 2-0.
And you have to be really careful early on. You can get misled in either direction. There are plenty of stories of teams losing their first 3 and more and winding up winning divisions. I remember 1987 with the Astros. I believe we won the first 6 games, that coming on the heels of the '86 year that was a postseason year and could have resulted in a large postseason. Didn't. Mets went on and won it all, but after winning 6, team hit the skids, and no explanation for why that took place.
That's a 4-pitch walk. So Wojciechowski, after allowing a homer, a single, now walks Santana with Moss coming up, and that's going to be the end of his day. A.J. Hinch has signaled in Sam DeDuno. Major league debut that has yielded less than the expected and hoped for results of Asher Wojciechowski. He's walked a couple, fanned a couple, has given up 2 home runs along the way, trails 4-0. We'll be back. Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. It's been all Cleveland today. The Astrodome will be the site of that gathering later on tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Well, inside the newest roofed ballpark, retractable roof, Minute Maid Park, it's 4-0 Cleveland. And now with 2 men on, nobody out, Sam Deduno relieves Asher Wojciechowski, who threw 88 pitches, 50 of them for strikes. Deduno facing Brandon Moss. Moss is 0 for 2. He's fouled out and popped up. Infield shifted around. And there's strike one.
Got a glimpse of Sam Deduno late last year. Started a game in New York against the Mets. I believe that was the final game of the season. Pitched well. And had a shot during the course of the spring to maybe be one of the starters.
That's foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. He was in that mix. 31 years old. Deduno pitching for Minnesota and Houston last year. The Astros claimed him on waivers in mid-August from the Twins. He's from the Dominican Republic. Made 15 starts for Minnesota in 2012 and then 18 in 2013. Last year he started 9 times, had a total of 35 appearances. No balls, 2 strikes from Sam Deduno. He began his career with the Rockies. They signed him as a free agent at 03. Then he was with San Diego before the Twins picked him up as a free agent. In a game like this, he's expected to stay in for a few innings. Keep the other relievers out of the game today. And the skipper was talking about the flexibility he has, A.J. Hinch, with the way he uses his bullpen. Mentioned Deduno as one of his multiple inning relievers. Will Harris can throw multiple frames. And by multiple, he said what he means is somebody who pitches in an inning or part of an inning, then sits down and then goes back out. He won't use some of his relievers in that way.
Can be a very tough role on a pitching staff. The guy that doesn't know when he's going to pitch, and when your starting staff is pitching well, you can go prolonged periods without pitching. You've got to be ready to go a number of innings, though, when the call finally comes.
He gets a strikeout. Moss retired, 1 out, and it's Yan Gomes.
Glimpse at what Sam Deduno is doing. That's a changeup, and he had that ball in the last 3 fingers of the right hand. Good running action away from Moss.
He did have nice movement on that pitch. Gomes doubled and scored in the second. He popped up in the third. And meanwhile, with the thoughts of Terry Francona with a 4-0 lead and the Astros not having had a hit so far, could be getting interesting if this trend continues for a few more innings. There's ball 1. A.J. Hinch was managing Arizona in 2010 when Edwin Jackson threw a no-hitter June 25th and threw 149 pitches. He walked 8 and struck out 6 to win 1-0 over the Rays.
And I hope he said, I dare you to take me out to a skip.
But you know, the dilemma, of course, for the manager is the pitcher's health as opposed to the no-hitter.
Yeah, and then there was Nolan Ryan and 7 no-hitters. That's just so unbelievable. But the number of pitches never stopped him.
Altuve backhands. He gets back to second for the forced play. That is a heady play. He had to slam on the brakes after crossing over to the third base side of second and then hustle back ahead of Santana to force him from 4 unassisted.
You know, for some of those reasons that we're just kind of thinking through there, I'm not sure there's ever a chance for there to be another Nolan Ryan.
You're right. Altuve with a smart play. Runners at first and third, 2 outs now, and it's Murphy 0 for 2. And strike 1. Yeah, I just don't think that major league organizations will allow that many pitches to be thrown consistently, considering the investments they have in pitching talent today.
I just can't see how anybody can even draw close to 7 no-hitters.
Grounded foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Most pitchers are kept on a careful pitch count after beginning their professional careers. And it's about the long haul. But on that occasion in 2010, it was about a no-hitter, and Edwin Jackson got it. Line to left field. Grossman backing for the catch. DeDuno comes in with some relief support. He gets 3 in a row. 1-run scoring on 2 hits. 2 men are left in the middle of the 5th inning. It's Cleveland 4-0.
Indians lead over the Astros. Looking for games on certain days of the week. With all the giveaways, your favorite rivalries, or maybe a little of each, the Astros 14-game flex plan puts you in charge. You get to pick the games and seat locations that work best for you. Purchase your 14-game flex plan today by visiting Astros.com or by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS.
4-0 Cleveland. Hank Conger puts the first pitch here in the bottom of the 5th inning in the air. And the catcher, Perez, takes care of it. A 1-pitch out for Trevor Bauer. He's not given up a hit so far through 4 1/3. He's struck out 9 and he's walked 4. Bobby Grossman will follow. Asher Wojciechowski in 4 innings allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, walking 2, fanning 2, throwing 88 pitches, 50 for strikes.
And talking about the no-hitters, and of course, Bauer yet to give up a hit. I just don't see any way with the pitch count right now that he would be given the shot to complete the no-hit bid today.
Grossman with ball 1. It doesn't make sense, does it?
I wonder, is there anything definitive that the medical staffs would say says that limiting the pitches saves the arms? Because so many pitchers now are having Tommy John surgery at an extent that I think is unparalleled for any other time in baseball.
Right.
And yet it comes while pitch counts are the mandate.
And only the first start of the year. That makes it extremely difficult to allow him to go up around 120 or so, we'll say. And as you can see, he's at 86 already. 2-1 to Grossman. Bobby grounds 1 foul.
Well, it seems to make sense that pitch counts would be helping pitchers, but you know, the statistics of surgeries right now would say it's in debate. I don't know if it is or not.
Bauer's 24 years old. He's not pitched a complete game in the majors. Struck him out looking. That's 10 strikeouts.
And now our league leaders, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. The major league leaders in hits for 2014. Of course, that guy, Jose Altuve, at the top of the list by a wide margin. And the missing in action left fielder for the Indians, Michael Brantley, was second at 200. What a great year he had. But, I mean, everybody kind of has to bow down to Jose Altuve and what he did last year. It was phenomenal.
Altuve has walked and popped up. There's strike 1 to him. Bauer has equaled his career high for strikeouts in a game with 10. Last July 13th, he fanned 10 against the White Sox. In the air on the right side of the infield, Kipnis moves for it. That's a very quick 5th inning for Bauer, needing only 8 pitches to maintain his 4-0 advantage.
In Indians, and it's time to introduce you to our progressive fan of the game, and with Doc Fagley, who is a very special guest of the Houston Astros today. He's 15 years old from Thorndale, Texas, a very small town outside of Austin. but in January suffered a severe burn injury, so 70% of his body, but he is going strong, and he is at the game today and had a special surprise when you showed up. They told you were going to throw out the first pitch. What were you thinking when you heard that?
I was really scared and kind of nervous, but whenever I got up there, I just watch out.
Watch out. We're good. We're safe over here.
Anyways, I just kind of threw it. I didn't really know where it was going to go because I haven't really thrown an actual baseball in a while. Felt pretty good though.
Well, you said you were going to play baseball next year when you get healthy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How you played at your high school?
This year would have been my first year. I'm a freshman, but I'm going to try to make it for my sophomore year.
That's great. It's great to hear that you'll be back in no time. How have you stayed so positive?
My OT therapist, she helps me, and she always talks to me whenever I'm getting down, and my dad helps me a lot, and they just help me get through it, and I usually feel better after they talk to me, and then I'm ready to work again, and I just keep going.
You are doing great, and you've been at Shriners Hospital for Children in Galveston, and you're supposed to be released next month. We congratulate you on that, just around the corner, and get back to playing baseball with these guys behind you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We're glad to have you here. Patty, back up to you.
Thanks, Julia. Heartwarming story. Chisenhall, the batter, and he is down on strikes. It's a second strikeout for Duduno. Great to have that young man at the ballpark and getting that special surprise today, throwing out the first pitch. Perez has had quite a day of it, catching 5 no-hit innings so far and going 2 for 2 with a homer, 2 runs batted in. Texas got 3 in the first at Oakland. That's strike 1. The Rangers coming back home for tomorrow afternoon's home opener. Will be making that trip from Oakland. Their record is 1-2 so far under their new skipper, Jeff Bannister. No balls, 2 strikes. Jeff's been living in this area for the last few years. It'll be fun to see him. And of course, he got a blow with Yu Darvish being out for the season. There's a foul ball. Delino DeShields Jr. stuck on that club after being a Rule 5 pick from the Astros.
Could be a tough position. Yeah, you want to make the big league club, but if you're sitting a lot in those early years, can really destroy the confidence.
Breaking pitch, a ball.
Hear a lot of talk about bringing a kid up, and he plays and doesn't play well. Can that destroy him? I don't tend to believe in that notion, but if you sit, the longer you sit, the questions start to really pop in your head.
Struck him out. That's 3 punch outs for Duduno.
Good breaking balls from Duduno. That over the top yacker has been successful.
It'll be Michael Bourne next. Bourne opened the game with a double off the left field wall. He's 1 for 3. That's a foul ball for Carter. Strike 1 to Bourne. Derek Holland gets the honor of pitching the home opener. There's Scott Feldman, the former Ranger. And Colin McHugh will be the mound opponent against Holland tomorrow. Airtime 2:30 for Astros pregame show here on Root Sports. No balls, 2 strikes. Giovanni Gallardo, longtime Astros foe from his Milwaukee days, goes against Roberto Hernandez Saturday night. Bourne is down on strikes. Duduno strikes out the side here in the top of the 6th inning, keeping the score 4-0 Cleveland.
It's 4-0 Indians. Celebrate Jackie Robinson Day with the Astros on Wednesday, April 15th. A special pregame ceremony will take place to honor Jackie Robinson's legacy and celebrate diversity in baseball. Purchase tickets by visiting astros.com/Jackie Robinson or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Thanks, Julia. 90 pitches in. Trevor Bauer deals, and the home sixth inning begins with ball one to George Springer. Springer has struck out both times today. The Astros looking for their first hit. 11 straight have been set down by Bauer. He knocks him down. It's a 2-0 count.
Bauer throws pretty hard, and start running that heater up in that area. If you're really looking for a pitch to hammer right there, as George Springer might have been, dangerous situation. But Bauer, like his two predecessors here in the series, able to throw the slider, went down in the count, 2-0 in this case.
And Kansas City and White Sox series has brought a little retaliation of hit batters. That's clocked on a line left field, but foul.
George has been sitting back beautifully on some breaking pitches, not just today but in the 3-game series. I think it's a good sign for George. Well, he can get some club head speed.
That'd be about a 320-yard drive at Augusta, wouldn't it?
I was going to say he's maybe the Rory McIlroy of this series.
Well squared up there. And takes that one for ball 3. 3-2. Indians have a top-notch bullpen. But for the third straight game, the Astros are seeing a starting pitcher they have not really been able to solve. They did get a couple of runs Monday night. And Springer works a walk. That's the 5th walk for Bauer. 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. A very unusual game.
That's starting to get in that A.J. Burnett territory.
They got 2 runs off Kluber in 7 1/3 innings Monday night. He struck out 7. Last night, no runs off Carrasco at 6 1/3. He struck out 10. And now another 10 strikeout game by a starter against them. Valbuena 0 for 1 with a walk. Fouling it for strike 1. The return of Matt Harvey has been a big story today for the New York Mets at Washington. And boy, did it go well against that very, very fine Washington Nationals team. The Mets won it 6-3. They got 4 in the 3rd to back Harvey against Steven Strasburg. Harvey with 6 shutout innings today. 0-2.
And sharp. 1 walk, 9 strikeouts.
Another dominant game by a pitcher. Strasburg giving up 6 runs, 3 of them earned in 5 1/3.
I'm not sure that Strasburg is that dominant guy that he seemed to be when he first came on the scene.
I have to agree with you. Lefty Kyle Crockett is warming up for the Indians. Valbuena takes it. 1-2. This will be the 100th pitch coming next for Bauer. In that no-hitter we talked about with A.J. Hinch managing Arizona back in 2010, June 25th, pitched by Edwin Jackson. A.J. would check with Edwin every inning to make sure he was okay to stay in after about the 6th. And he kept saying he wanted to stay in, and he did for 149 pitches in a no-hitter.
The other question I would ask is, who in today's world does a manager have to check with to find out if he can keep the guy on the hill?
Maybe not the pitcher, maybe the general manager, right?
Trevor Bauer, number of pitches. It didn't start out well for him with the 26 and 28 pitches first 2 innings, but he's really tuned it up since.
Valbuena fouls it. Still 2-2. Well, Harvey was about 17 months removed from Tommy John surgery. Had a fantastic spring, and he has come out blazing. He threw 91 pitches today.
Well, I think when healthy, he looks about as dominant as anybody in the game right now.
He's right up there with the top ones. You're right. In the air off the bat of Valbuena. Perez coming back. It's out of play. Still 2-2. It's almost to the point, or maybe close to it, that Terry Francona might be thinking about getting Bauer out when he gives up the first hit immediately almost.
I think that's fair. And I wonder what's going through Terry Francona's mind right here. And managers have to deal with it. How far can you go?
There goes Springer. And the pitch inside, they check, and it's a check swing call going the Astros way. Springer gets the steal. Valbuena takes for ball 3.
I'll ask another question. How many stolen bases can George Springer come up with this year?
Well, he had 37 one year in the minors.
He can fly. And for a big guy, he gets a pretty quick start.
Picked a good time to go. He did not do much running last year. He was 5 for 7 with the Astros. Jammed on it. Valbuena gets it in the air. Kipnis at second base. 1 out. Evan Gattis to the plate. Career high pitches thrown by Bauer, 119. June 16th last year against the Angels. Astros and Indians 1-1. Last winning record in the month of April for the Astros, 06. They were 16-8 that year. Last year they came out of the gate 18-32 in their first 50 games. Gattis looks at it. It's strike 1. He's whiffed twice. Evan last night failing to make contact in 4 straight strikeouts. So that's 6 consecutive strikeouts over 2 games for Gattis. In the dirt, blocked by Perez. Springer started and then stopped. Bauer, a big strikeout pitcher in college, led the nation pitching for UCLA in 2010 with 165 as a sophomore. Chris Carter's on deck. That's in for strike 2.
Now, each of the 3 starting pitchers now for the Indians has a great ability with their reliance on the come from behind breaking ball.
With that Mets win at Washington, they're off to a 2-1 start. They could be a surprise team with that kind of pitching if they get it. Gattis swings and misses and is thrown out by the catcher. Strikeout number 11 for Bauer. 2 outs. Chris Carter will follow. It's still a hitless start for the Astros. 3, 4, 5 hitters through 2 games plus this.
And that load gets tough to carry.
0 for 28 for the 3, 4, 5 hitters so far this season. Carter puts it in the air, and right fielder and first baseman look at it. It's back out of play. At NL East, though, with the Mets, they can shake up some things in that division. Most people are picking the Nationals to romp in that division this year. I've been doing that last year.
Well, their roster says romp, but odd things happen.
It's a new career high with the 11 strikeout game for Bauer now. Upstairs to Carter. 1-1. Jed Lowrie's on deck. Infield overshifted around on Carter, playing him to pull. And he does to shortstop. Ramirez keeps the no-hit bid alive through 6 for Trevor Bauer. 4-0 Cleveland.
The Astros through 6 without a hit against Trevor Bauer, and a lot of questions going on there. I think what we have, Brownie, is a question at first base. Was the bag tagged on that final out, the ground out by Chris Carter? I was actually wondering myself, but everybody ran off so easily. I thought it must have been more of a tag at the bag than I thought. Put on the bag.
So we have an umpire review, and Chris Guccione came into the studio for Root Sports and talked about this process, and it involves 2 umpires, as you see. It involves the crew chief, Ted Barrett, and also if there's a different umpire involved in the call, and Chris Conroy is the umpire at first in this game. They are both on headsets conferring with New York. So did he get the foot back on the base? It appeared that he went back and touched it after coming off, but is that in fact the case? Let's see a different angle here.
Yeah, sitting up here, I wasn't so sure that he did, but if he did, it might have been by the end of a spike.
Well, maybe not, as we saw that angle.
I guess the question would be, with the out call, you have to find something that irrefutably says it goes the other way.
A.J. Hinch, one of the umpires to take a look at it, and they do so in New York. And as you probably were advised last year as you watched Major League games, these umpiring crews rotate. Sometimes the crew is working the review process in New York in the studio. Santana trying to get the right foot back, but does he ever touch the base? Well, it's close.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could overturn a call based on what I'm seeing right there. There'd have to be another angle. That one really tells me nothing. So we kind of have that angle up here in the booth where I thought, wow, did he get his foot back there?
It's the ruling of an out. It's upheld. There's the crew chief signaling out, Ted Barrett. So they evidently thought that Santana's foot did get back on first base after coming off it. And now the Astros would take the field for the top of the 7th inning. A couple of players had run onto the field and they were motioned back into the dugout until that ruling was made. So that's the first challenge of the season for A.J. Hinch.
Well, as they get loose now, time for the AT&T rewind. Sam Deduno came on and pitched quite effectively. Had good stuff. A lot of breaking pitches thrown for strikes. He was able to throw the fastball by some hitters. He looked sharp. And again, that's not an easy role from which to be sharp, but Sam Deduno performs quite well under the circumstances this afternoon.
And he could wind up being somebody important in the scheme of things. What the general manager, Jeff Luhnow, has done is keep a lot of options open by having Roberto Hernandez, who pitched well in spring training, in the rotation, and Sam Deduno in the bullpen right now, because both could have left the organization had they not made the opening day roster. And Deduno, somebody with a lot of experience. He's in his 6th major league season. He certainly has done a nice job since he came in the 5th inning. It's a difficult role, that of long reliever. Pitchers can go days at a time without working in a game, and so that makes it tough to stay sharp, because in order to stay sharp, some pitchers like to throw bullpens every few days, but that's discouraged if he might be pitching later that night. So what they often do is, if in a given game he hasn't thrown for several days, they'll wait until later in the game when he would no longer be used, and then he might throw. But that could foul up an extra inning type strategy, right?
You know, my thought is, and it's right in those lines, how many times have you heard a major league player who hasn't played for a while say, well, how am I supposed to be sharp when I haven't been playing? Well, that's exactly the role of the long man in the bullpen.
Yes, it is. 1-1.
But I think you have to be able to play this game with no excuses. Manufacture whatever it takes to assimilate game situation and be ready.
And the long man can help keep the pitching staff together by soaking up some innings in situations like this one, keeping the other relievers rested for the next day.
One of the intrigues about this game, beyond the no-hitter being thrown by Trevor Bauer, is that it's only 4-0.
It could turn quickly. 3-2 now.
It's a game that feels like it's weighted more heavily on the Indian side.
It does have that feel to it. You're right. All 8 hits belong to the Indians. And Ramirez coaxes a leadoff walk. Third walk of the game. The Indians have worked. Kipnis has had quite a day of it with a sac fly, a triple, and a single. He had a solid year in 2013. Last year played with a strained oblique quite a bit of the season, and his production slowed down quite a bit. He could not finish that swing. That affected his totals. He slumped to a .240 batting average. He was an all-star the year before, hitting .284. Runner taking off. Here's the throw from Conger. Not in time. A steal by Ramirez, his second of the day. Pitch was ball 1 to Kipnis, who was a wide receiver in high school. He was an outfielder. Played at the University of Kentucky and Arizona State. Converted to second base, but can play other positions. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kipnis drove in 84 runs in 2013 after a 76 RBI year the year before. 22,593 the paid attendance. 1 and 2. Well, that was some kind of an electric crowd on Monday.
Yeah, it was great stuff, and Dallas Keuchel did not disappoint many.
Kansas City leads the White Sox 4-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th at KC. Edinson Volquez pitching very well. Altuve down on a knee, throwing to Carter. 1 out. Ramirez taking third base on the play.
Jason Kipnis playing good solid baseball, trying to add to that 4-0 lead.
Now the infield comes in with a 4-0 deficit. The Astros do not feel they can allow any more runs. Santana's the batter. He has struck out and walked twice. It seems the White Sox, Samardzija with a hit batsman, may have fired up Kansas City in that series. Salvador Perez has a home run today. Indians certainly give the Royals a lot of respect in what they say about this year's race in the AL Central. Kind of mixed opinions on how improved the White Sox may or may not be this year.
If Jose Abreu gets any better, they've got an MVP maybe for a long time.
He's a monster. Fouled, and it's 1 and 2. Kansas City going without James Shields this year. That'll be interesting to see. Although the prospect of signing him to the kind of deal he got with the Padres was not appealing to the Royals at all at his age and with the number of innings he's thrown.
You know, I don't want to get on James Shields. I respect him. Boy, talk about a guy that has earned the respect of a number of teammates on different clubs.
He has. Runner comes to the plate. Carter throws to Conger. Conger is safe as he tries the swipe tag. And it's 5-0 on the slow roller to first base. RBI for Santana.
So with that preface on James Shields, I was only going to say, you know, it's so often said it's all about the ring, but Shields was on a team that went to the World Series last year, and it's not always all about the ring. I'm sorry. And this play, you see Conger out in front of the baseline to take the throw. I don't know if the current rules force a catcher to do so, but it makes it really tough to try to reach back quickly enough to make that tag.
Yeah, he has to leave a sliding lane for the base runner. Moss is 0 for 3. There's ball 1. How much of that plate he has to leave exposed is up to the umpire's judgment.
Of course, we saw it at times last year called and other times not called.
Right. Infield shifted around for Brandon Moss, who tops one foul. Kendall Graveman is starting for Oakland. He's taking his lumps today at the hands of the Rangers. He's given up 5 runs so far. They're in the top of the 4th inning. Rangers 5, Athletics nothing. Nick Martinez starting for Texas. And Mitch Moreland has a Ranger home run, his first. Graveman, one of the young pitchers, getting that shot by the Oakland A's. They've revamped their club since last year, and we'll see them starting Monday night here. Runner going on 2-0, and the pitch is foul.
You know, I wonder, again, with the current rules where catchers have to allow a baseline to slide, if it might not be better under today's rules for the catcher to come back the foul side of that baseline to take that throw and then drop in to block the runner when you have the baseball. I don't know, but I'm just asking if it might be.
That's not a bad thought at all. We'll have to ask around about that. Three 1. Well, let's make it 2-2 as the count. Minnesota and Detroit have not been able to get underway because of the rain in Detroit. There's the toss, and Valbuena gets it to Lowrie and starts at 5-6-3 double play. 1 run scoring, no hits in the 7th inning, and it's 5-0 Indians. The Astros looking for their first hit in the 7th.
Our featured pitching performance is powered by Kubota. And it looks something like this. Good stuff all day long by Trevor Bauer. Had the good fastball. He ran it in good locations. He'd run that fastball on that side of the plate back to the corner. He could rely on breaking pitches much of the afternoon, but he had both sides of the game, and I think that kept the Astros hitters on their heels all day.
Trevor Bauer out of the game after 6 no-hit innings. Lefty Kyle Crockett comes in. Bauer threw 111 pitches, 65 strikes. He walked 5 and fanned 11 in his 6 no-hit innings. Retired 11 in a row through the 5th, then a leadoff walk to Springer broke that string. And now Crockett 4-1 with a 1.80 ERA in 43 games last year, making his debut May 16th last year. Takes over against Jed Lowrie. Lowrie 0 for 2. Bauer did not have any display of anger when he was lifted from the game. There's ball 1. Lowrie struck out and grounded out. Completely understandable that Terry Francona would make this move.
Yeah, I imagine there was some conversation, and I would imagine it went something like this. Young man, you pitched great today. I'd love to see you have the chance to get the no-hitter, but prudence just says we can't do it.
One and 2 to Lowrie. Preston Gomez took 2 pitchers out of no-hitters late in games. I believe after 8 innings both times, Ash.
It's tough. Really tough in a different era, too.
Yeah. Lowrie's down on strikes. That's 12 punch-outs for Cleveland pitching.
Well, I guess if we thought the strikeout was magically going to go away this year, we might have been hoping for a bit too much.
Jonathan VR is the pinch hitter for Colby Rasmus. VR's first action of the young season. He's become a handyman after being a shortstop for the Astros. The last couple of years he played quite a bit at that position, but he's played all over this spring. 209, 7 homers, 27 runs batted in last year for the switch hitter. And he's looked good in center field. That's where he will be playing unless some other changes are made. There's strike one.
Brownie, you were talking back early part of the ball game, maybe even prior, about the desire by managers to get players in as soon as possible. I think this is a great move to be able to start getting some of the guys in that haven't played to this point.
It is a good time. 1-1. Conger on deck. So now Marwin Gonzalez has not played. Broken bat. Chisenhall. 2 down. And every other position player has at least been in a game for the Astros. Conger with a walk in the second, then fouled out in the 5th inning. The Astros had that collaborative 6-pitcher no-hitter at Yankee Stadium in 03 when Roy Oswalt left in the 2nd inning with a groin injury. And several teams have had no-hitters of that variety. But that was the first time a team had used 6 pitchers in a no-hitter. Conger looks at strike one. Oh, 2, so the battle for the silver boot in 2015 begins tomorrow. Astros versus Rangers. Rangers currently leading 8-0 at Oakland in the 4th inning now, and they would seem to be on their way to a waltz, which would give them a 2-2 start if they win today.
Where is that boot right about now?
It's here somewhere in this ballpark. I believe it's at Union Station. Someone said Julia knows where it is. Oh, it's no, Julia, you didn't say Union Station. You said it was in one of the gift shops, right?
Hopefully not specially priced.
Yeah.
Team store behind home plate.
Behind home plate. All right, we have found it, and there it is. There's the silver boot.
You got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah. One year it got lost in transit. One of the Astros staffers was driving it from Houston to Texas, and it disappeared somehow.
Well, you can see how something like that would get lost.
Oh, sure.
Oh, it's in my closet. I didn't realize I had it there.
Well, now there's all kinds of security, so that's not happening again. Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh 3-2. Reds got a walk-off win last night. 3-2. Scott Atchison is warming up for the Indians. A veteran right-hander. A big day for a lot of people around the Astros organization. Tony DeFrancesco leading that Fresno team out tonight. Fresno has not been to the playoffs in the PCL since '98. Conger draws a 2-out walk. And Rodney Linares, the manager of Corpus Christi, leads his team out into its first game in Springfield. Omar Lopez, the manager of Lancaster. Josh Bonifay, Quad Cities, all getting set for their openers. Robbie Grossman has walked and struck out looking today.
Brownie, I bet the moon has not lost the golf ball that came from Earth.
Strike to Robbie. Reds did it again in the bottom of the 9th today. It's their second straight walk-off. Joey Votto hit a 6th inning homer, his first of the year. Pedro Alvarez, #1 for Pittsburgh. 0-2.
I think Votto had the game winner last night at 2 a.m. some such figure.
Wow. have to check and see if he was the guy who did it again. Aroldis Chapman was the winning pitcher. One and two. So the Reds have swept that opening series. Can put them at 3-0. Oh, there was an error by Gregory Polanco that sent the Reds on to a win. First 3-0 start for them since 2011. 2-2. Pirates' first 0-3 start since 06.
Apparently Joey Votto's long ball was a game-tying job. 2-run shot.
He could be a monster for them this year. He and Todd Frazier are going to be really big in the Red scheme of things. Foul ball.
I saw Votto from last night's game. He's got the shaven head look now.
Saw that. No school today?
I don't know. Are there dreams being had? Or are there question marks? Will the Astros get that big hit?
Baseball sickness.
Catch it.
You ever duck out of school to go to a game?
When I was back in grammar school, back years after you were doing it.
Is that why you have such good grammar? Because you went to grammar school?
Well, that's part of it, yes.
Do they still call it grammar school?
But I remember the World Series. It was such a different animal in those days. No, I'll leave it at that.
We'll get back to it. Wow, what a strikeout day. That's 13 for the Tribe. And Indians lead it 5-0.
2015 Houston Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park, save money, and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats. Guys.
Well, Julia, you'll go back to your old haunts tonight.
That's right.
And yeah, you excited about the home opener for the Rangers, so we get all the pomp and circumstance there in that ballpark. And it's kind of nice to have two openers in 1 week, right?
I'm a big fan of as many openers as we can get.
Yeah.
They're fun. It doesn't matter what side you're on.
They really are. Jonathan Villar stays in the game playing center field. Yan Gomes versus Sam Deduno. Gomes 1 for 3, a double. There's ball one. What is your favorite thing to witness in an opener as far as the pregame festivities?
Oh, it's the flyover.
Yeah, me
Hands
too.
Down.
Me too.
I get chills every time.
It works every single time, doesn't it? Yeah, the one here was really good.
Too cool.
How do you think they're able to time that so well?
I don't know. Because it's down to the second.
It's amazing. In the air, and VR is over in right center field. So the new guy in the game, immediately the ball finds him. How often does that work, Ash?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the flyovers, by the way, as Jonathan Villar makes it look easy, and he should. Was it with the Astros? I bounced around here in recent years, but there was a flyover at Wrigley Field. The Jets came from back behind, and they hit the field of play, and the sound just all of a sudden appeared, and it was frightening.
We all jumped about 8 feet. Murphy attacks one toward the left field corner, a slicing drive that bounces off the wall. He heads for second, and he's 1 for 4, a double for Murphy, his first double of the season. Julia, we were doing a game at Wrigley, and there was this air show in Chicago, and we had not been told anything about any air show, had no warning of any planes flying around Wrigley Field, and we're doing this game, and this jet comes screaming over Wrigley Field from behind us. Nobody could see it coming, and there's just a wall of noise, and we all jumped through the press box.
Yeah, no warning whatsoever, and I want to say he was probably about, I think it was that 7.5 foot mark you were talking about last night that he went over the stadium.
Yeah, he was close. He was close.
There he goes, right now.
He was a real cowboy, as they say, Julian. Chisenhall 0 for 3. And he smacks one foul. Now Swarzak has joined Atchison in the bullpen for Cleveland. 1-1. But yeah, the flyover is definitely big, and then the large American flags out in the outfield. Dallas Keuchel, Julia, said that was the only thing that really threw him off a little bit on opening day. Had to move his normal game of toss in the outfield because of the American flag out there, but he was glad to do that. Off the mound, out to Lowrie, and safe at first. Chisenhall beats it. It's an infield hit for Chisenhall.
Well, that's pretty impressive that Chisenhall could make it that close. I don't have the best of call-making positions here, but thought initially like they might have gotten him by that hair of a beat.
Chris Conroy with the safe call. Looks like he did beat it.
Yeah.
Runners at first and third now, 1 out. Perez has had a big day. RBI single, homer.
Remember Harmon Killebrew with the All-Star game stretch?
Yeah.
That tore the hamstring?
Boy,
that was missing in action right there.
Ugh, that was ugly to watch. Nadia Comaneci couldn't have done it any better. But she didn't get hurt.
Nadia Comaneci came up during a Major League Baseball game. Wow.
You never know what you're going to get into.
Our TXU Energy Power Player of the game is Roberto Perez, 9-hitter and catcher for these Indians. He's had himself a day. He had a single and an RBI back in the second. He homered in the fourth inning. And it's pretty solid work by the backstop of the Tribe.
Yeah, from a backup catcher, that's nice production. Ground ball to third. On to second, and then the turn by Altuve makes it a 5-4-3 double play. Great pivot by Altuve to keep the Indians from scoring in the eighth. No runs, a couple of hits, and a man left. This is well done as Valbuena got rid of it, and Altuve went airborne. 5-0 Cleveland.
Follow the Astros all season with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet and learn who Nadia Comaneci really is.
No, that is really a good app. Have you been using that this year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's excellent. It's terrific stuff.
Well, it's 5-0, and Scott Atchison comes in. Veteran right-hander to work the eighth inning. 6-0 last year in 70 appearances. Right-handers didn't do much of anything against him. And it'll be Altuve first up here in the eighth inning. Crockett in one inning allowed no hits, no runs with 1 walk, and he struck out 2. Breaking pitch good for strike 1 from the 39-year-old right-hander who pitched on opening day here, 2/3 of an inning, allowing no hits, no runs. Gave up a sac fly to Jake Marisnick. In the air, and Chisenhall moves over into foul ground. 1 out. Still a no-hitter for the Indians pitching staff through 7 1/3. Chad Qualls is warming up for Houston. George Springer has struck out twice and walked. Indians pitchers have walked 6 and struck out 13. Strike 1 to Springer. Second straight game, the Indians pitchers have had 13 strikeouts. 1-1. And the Astros have not really had that many hard hit balls, even foul balls in this game.
No, there's been nothing resembling a base hit. See teams. The Indians here in the 3-game series, starting George Springer a number of times with breaking balls. We'll see if we see that a lot now as the season begins.
3-1. When the Astros had their 6-pitcher no-hitter at Yankee Stadium in 03, a lot of the pitchers didn't even know it was a no-hitter because of the way the game unfolded. Springer takes a walk. That's the 7th walk for Cleveland pitching. Because of the injury to Roy Oswalt in the 2nd inning, it just didn't have that no-hitter type feel. And I don't think Jeff Kent knew it was a no-hitter until somebody told him after the game. So there were several Astros players who were just unaware of it.
I wonder how many of those 6 pitchers called home and said, I threw a no-hitter.
Valbuena takes strike 1. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Now he has not struck out today. He's hit the ball to center field and popped to second, and he's walked. Altuve has not struck out today. And Conger has not struck out. It's almost like a badge in a game like this. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strikeouts galore.
It truly was a badge back in the Kerry Wood 1-hitter, if you remember.
Oh, was that a dominant game?
Was that 1998?
Yeah.
And I think the infield single that was awarded could easily have been ruled an error in that ball game.
Absolutely.
But that was the wickedest stuff I've ever witnessed.
That was a lockdown day. One of the most dominant games ever pitched, no-hitter or not. It was a 1-hitter, but it was probably more dominant than some no-hitters.
Oh, and what I remember beyond watching the game and just marveling at Kerry Wood's stuff was going back in the clubhouse after the game, and the Astros hitters were all watching the replays on TV and laughing at each other and their futile-like efforts to try to handle that stuff. I mean, it was laughter in that we had no chance against that stuff.
Bouncer, foul, and then Matt Cain pitched the perfect game against the Astros in San Francisco. But that game, even though it was certainly outstanding, involved a tremendous catch in right center field. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. So the no-hitters against the Astros have come from Juan Marichal, Jim Maloney, Cordova, and Rincon. That was a combined 10-inning no-hitter for the Pirates. Zambrano, after the Hurricane Ike game, was moved to Milwaukee, and Matt Cain the perfect game. That's a shot to right field and caught on the warning track by Moss. He throws back to first base. Good play by Moss. We're out number 2 here in the 8th inning. Valbuena scorched that one.
And I think Louis thought he had a knock here. I don't know if he thought it was going out, but he stood just kind of bewildered just shy of first base after hanging out this hanging breaking ball. And then he looks back out to the field. Kidding me.
Now 4 outs away from a no-hitter. There's strike 1. Evan Gattis 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs. 7 straight strikeouts for Gattis since grounding out in the 7th inning Monday night. No balls, 2 strikes.
When you're going through a little strikeout binge and you get 2 strikes on you, it is not a comfy feeling.
Indians have had some great pitching. No-hitters down through the years. Bob Feller and company. 1 and 2. Have they ever had a combined no-hitter like they could get today? Gattis strikes out for the 4th time. 14 strikeouts now for Cleveland. We move to the 9th inning, 5-0 Indians with the no-hitter still alive. Now at Southwest.com and by Paul Blart. Mall Cop 2, starring Kevin James, in theaters April 17th. And Alan Ashby will be waiting at the box office with his segue.
I've got to see what happens here first.
Yep, no hitter intact through 8 for the Indians. So will these fans see a bit of history? Chad Qualls will work the top of the 9th first. He's pitcher number 3 in this game for the Astros. Last season, as the closer, 19 for 25 in saves.
Chad had a nice year last year. See the 58 rather appearances, the 25 saves you mentioned, Brownie. Right-hand hitters had a real tough time against him. Can he improve upon what the lefties did?
He goes to work against Michael Bourne. Michael started the game with a double and came around to score on a Kipnis sac fly. He's 1 for 4, taking strike 1. 22,593 the paid attendance for the finale of this brief 3-game homestand. And they have seen some dominant pitching. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cleveland has scored a total of 7 runs in these 3 games. Houston has scored 2. Last Indians no-hitter was in 1981 by Len Barker against Toronto, May 15th, a 3-0 win. 2 balls, no strikes. They have thrown 14 no-hit games in their history. Dennis Eckersley did it. Bob Feller had 3. Qualls through his legs, maybe. Lowrie safe. Bourne is 2 for 5.
Well, you can see these hungry hitters going down the line trying to salvage those infield knocks.
Ramirez has a bunt single, a homer, a walk, 2 runs scored, 2 steals. Quite a day for Ramirez. There's strike 1. One and 1 for Chad Qualls in his first outing of the season. It's a different role for him this year. He happily welcomed a couple of his buddies from Padre days who signed as free agents and took on a different role in the bullpen when Luke Gregerson was named the closer. Two balls, 1 strike. Nice job by Sam DiDuno in long relief today. 4 innings of 2 hit, 1 run baseball, walking 1, fanning 4. It's a shot to center field. VR playing it. He looks pretty natural in center going back to spring training. 1 out.
Looks pretty casual out there.
Yeah.
Casual moves.
Oh, okay. Thought you were comparing him to a Japanese outfielder.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a guy that's been there, handled it, and knows what he's doing.
DiDuno threw 54 pitches in relief, 40 of them strikes. Kipnis has had a nice day. 2 hits and a sac fly for Kipnis. Looking at ball 1. Santana on deck. Indians bullpen has some action going. Atchison pitched a pretty quick 8th inning, but there might be somebody else taking the mound for the 9th. Strike, and it's 1-1. Nick Hagedorn, a lefty. We saw that Jim Maloney no-hitter for Cincinnati against Houston back in the 60s. And that involved a series in which there were back-to-back hitters because Don Wilson the next night no-hit the Reds. Inside, almost got him at the knees. Chad Qualls hasn't pitched in a few days. 2-2. That's why it's a good idea to get him in a game like this one and get him some work before he comes into a tighter situation. And A.J. Hinch did that with Deduno earlier. Well, the way a manager uses his pitching staff is really critical to the success of a team. He used Sipp and Gregerson each for 1 inning opening night. Thatcher, Neshek, and Harris last night. Deduno and Qualls today. So spreading out the work among the relievers, and nobody has pitched more than once so far. Altuve spins and fires to Lowrie. Excellent play to force Bourne with that jump throw right on target. 2 outs.
That's a gem. This guy can go get it. I think he gets shortchanged a bit in terms of credit on the defensive side of the game. It's going hard, and to be able to turn and make that accurate throw back to second, not easy.
Carlos Santana bats. He's walked twice. He has an RBI in this game. He smacks one high to right field, and that's hooking. Springer over to watch it move foul. Gregor Blanco made that amazing diving catch in the Matt Cain perfect game in San Francisco against the Astros. That was June 13th, 2012.
I think I saw a new approach down there, going after a home run or a long ball into the seats.
What was the approach?
Young lady appeared to have a different method being employed.
What did she do?
Well, I don't know if I could explain it. It seemed to have kung fu and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
tough word for me. All involved, maybe a number of the special arts.
Al back,
not including pastels.
Terry Francona's club tried to take 2 of 3 in this series. We'll have a return engagement at home with the Astros in July. There's going to be a whole lot happening between now and July 6th when these two teams meet again in Cleveland. That's a 4-game series. Played for Qualls. 1-2. Well, Ash, there was a record number of major leaguers that began the year on the DL. There's a pitch outside. 115 players opened the season on the disabled list.
Is that because today more guys are hurt, or because there's much more caution being taken?
Well, maybe the latter. That's a strikeout for Qualls. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The Indians try to complete the no-hitter. They lead it 5-0. June 11th, 2003, at Yankee Stadium. It was a combined 6-pitcher no-hitter for the Astros. Roy Oswalt started, came out in the 2nd inning with a groin injury, and then the revolving door brought in Pete Monroe, and a total of 6 pitchers in that game. Astros no-hit the Yankees.
Yeah, Roy Oswalt might have had one on his own if not for the groin flaring up. But yeah, that was fun. And watch Jeff Blum save the day.
He made the biggest play in that game.
Yes, he did.
Kirk Saarloos Got Derek Jeter on strikes. Brad Lidge.
You mean they couldn't hit that slider?
No, sir. Who could? Octavio Dotel and Billy Wagner.
Oh, that's the greatest trio back end of a bullpen I think that I'm aware of.
An electric night and a 6-pitcher no-hitter ending on the toss from Bagwell to Wagner at Yankee Stadium, 8-0. Adam Everett at shortstop. Combined no-hitters, Cordova and Rincon against the Astros for Pittsburgh. The 6 pitchers for the Astros against the Yankees. And against the Dodgers, June 8th for Seattle 2012, Millwood and company.
That might be the nature of the no-hitter in the future because pitchers can't go that deep into a ballgame with pitches.
Trevor Bauer started, went 6 no-hit innings, walking 5, fanning 11, and came out after 111 pitches.
I don't think I'd have given him a chance after the first 2 innings, being up over 50 pitches in that span. But boy, he tightened it up. Crockett came on, Atchison. It's not been a fun day for some of the Astros hitters.
Now pitcher number 4 is warming up after those 3 have set the stage for Nick Hagedorn. Carter, Lowrie, VR due up in the bottom of the 9th inning as Houston tries to avoid being no-hit. 5 no-hitters have been pitched against Houston in history. Hagedorn 1-0 in 35 games, a 2.70 ERA last season. Had a spring in which his ERA was 0. Last night he faced 2 batters. He gave up a hit and a walk, but was not charged with a run when Mark Zepchinski bailed him out with a double play ball. There's strike 1 to Carter. Carter 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. A total of 14 strikeouts in the game by the Indians. It's 1-1. Hagedorn last night came in with 1 out in the 7th inning. Indians were leading 1-0 at the time. Carlos Carrasco left after his 10th strikeout. He walked Jason Castro and he gave up an infield hit to Jed Lowrie, a hard hit ball off the third baseman's glove. And now Carter watches as the count runs to 2-1 on Chris.
I realize how difficult a no-hitter is to accomplish, but I get amazed when I see the separation between no-hitters sometimes in an organization. 1981, the last one for the Indians.
Yeah. Their first one was in 1908. In for strike 2, it's 2-2. Addy Joss pitched 2 no-hitters for them. 1908, 1910. Ray Caldwell, Wes Farrell. Mentioned Feller. Feller had 3 for them. Bob Lemon, Dick Bosman, Sonny Siebert. Long history. 14 no-hitters for the Indians. This one heads for foul ground. And still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think I played a part in the Dick Bosman no-hitter.
Did you?
I was on the Indians and got called into the office and sent down to AAA. And that night, Dick threw a no-hitter. So I think I was instrumental.
1974. So by not being there, you helped the Tribe?
I had
a big moment.
You should have heard the parting words I had.
Now we can be successful now that you're gone. Strikeout to open the home 9th inning. 15 punch-outs for the Indians.
Tomorrow afternoon's pitching matchup is presented by Chevron. Care for your car. It'll be Colin McHugh taken to the mound for the Astros as they get up into Arlington, Texas. Derek Holland, fine left-hander for the Rangers, will go. How about that year had by Colin McHugh last year? 25 starts coming out of nowhere, winning 11, 2.73 ERA. He was fantastic in that whip, among the best.
Jed Lowrie's 0 for 3. There's strike one. 2 outs away from a 4-pitcher no-hitter. The Indians try to finish it off. The Astros got only 4 hits and were shut out 2-0 last night. Lowrie in the air, deep to left field. This one will soar, and Lowrie has broken it up and also is breaking up the shutout with a home run for Lowrie, number 1. Well, last night he got a good swing against Hagedorn with a shot to third base off the glove of Chisenhall, ruled a single. This time a home run for Lowrie.
And no indecisiveness for the scorekeeper. That is for certain. That was noisy coming off the bat. That's the way to break one up. Jed Lowrie is getting off to a pretty nice start.
And Jonathan Villar. Ball 1 to him. First home run of the season by an Astro comes from Lowrie.
We were talking last night about the fact that Lowrie's prominence in terms of power seems to come from the left side, but turns it around here.
He hit a rocket. 396-footer. 1 ball, 1 strike. Conger's on deck. Villar puts it in the air, and Kipnis takes care of out number 2. The Astros in the second game of the 2013 season facing Yu Darvish didn't have a base runner until 2 outs in the 9th inning when Marwin Gonzalez got a clean single through the middle to avoid a perfect game pitched against them. Cody Allen, the closer, is warming up for the Indians. Conger is 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. Astros batting average for the first 2 games was .127. Strike makes it 0-2. Breaking pitch, and that's a strikeout to end it. 16 strikeouts by the Indians pitching staff. And they went 2 of 3 in this series. Santana getting an RBI, a couple of walks along the way. The Indians take 2 of 3, winning this final game, and the score is 5-1 Cleveland.